Eddie appointed most of the current board, and in the end, they largely turned on him. That would be enough for me to vote the current board out. And I just wonder if that elephant in the room of how the current board had treated the long-time president, who has actually just done such a fantastic job of taking Collingwood into where they are currently, would have something of that belief. If I was voting today, it wouldn't be voting for Jeff Brown per se, but yeah, I might vote the current board out because I don't like what they did to Ed.
Welcome back to Footy Classified. The all-time great himself, Lee Matthews, weighing in on the Collingwood board saga. Caro, when he speaks, Lee tends to have some cut-through, and that was no different.
It was fascinating, wasn't it, on 3AW pre-game on Saturday. I don't necessarily agree with the fact that Eddie was shafted by the board. Certainly, he lost the board in the end, but I think that was partly Ed's fault as well, and I think that his own undoing was brought forward, obviously, because of that Do Better report and that now famous or infamous press conference. But he has said that it's going to be a referendum on Eddie Maguire, Lee Matthews, and, you know, members do funny things, Matthew, and maybe that's exactly what they will do. What is interesting now is that David Hatley, the supporter member who he spoke to on Classified last Wednesday night, he said he was waiting to get that list of members so he can force the EGM. He asked for it on the 1st of June. We now sit here on the 7th of June. The board still haven't provided him with that list, so this is going to drag on.
Lloydie, Lee Matthews doesn't usually get involved in politics, but I reckon someone that doesn't even more is Nathan Buckley. Usually steers clear of this sort of stuff. Interested to hear your take on Nathan himself weighing in on which faction he supported.
Yeah, I actually believe that there's been a whole heap of change at this football club over the last 3 or 4 years in particular. I think we're a much better organisation across those years. There's been that much change that has taken place. I believe the people that are on the current board are the right people to take the club forward.
Caro, Damien Barrett wrote a piece saying Bucks could have done 3 things: supported Jeff Brown and his group, supported obviously the current group in Mark Corder, or said nothing, which he could have said, I'm the football coach, I'm not answering any of that. But he went with the current board, Mark Corder. Some suggest that could that mean that Jeff Brown would like change, and that's why Nathan Buckley went in that direction. What's your thoughts on that?
First of all, I thought he should not have said anything. I don't think he should have taken sides, and he should have made the point that he'll work for whoever is running the board of the football club. He's
been there a long time, Carol. I mean, he's allowed to take sides.
He's allowed to do what he likes, but I think he made a big mistake. I think that Jeff Brown, I'm not sure what he thinks of Nathan Buckley, but he would certainly be looking at other coaches and other prospects for the Collingwood Football Club, as I think the current board is. But you're right, his best chance of keeping his job is going with the current board. I think it's unedifying for a coach to play politics. We'll learn in the next week or two the Jeff Brown ticket. I think it's going to be 4 men and 3 women.
Do you know of any names for that, Caro?
Look, I think that certainly Jeff Brown would be looking certainly at women. He'd be looking at least 1 or 2 former players, and, you know, probably even an Indigenous representative, given the Do Better report, probably given Jodie Sizers had a crack at him and said he comes from a position of privilege, he probably won't be going for her. But I say again, Kane, if you want to get a big-name coach, it's not going to happen if there's another club in the market for one, if they're going to let this drag on until August, September.
You were first to go with it, and you copped some criticism. I think it was after round 2, where you felt, if I'm phrasing it correctly, that you weren't confident Nathan would be there next year. Caro, are you more confident or less confident now than when you made that statement in the early parts of the season?
I still don't think that he'll be coaching Collingwood next year. I'm not saying I know that for certain. That's just the feeling I have, and I've had it all year.
I want to talk about the on-field scoop, because I thought he had a good day for what it's worth in the coach's box. I thought he outdid Matthew Nicks. Clearly there's a focus on development. So Pendlebury started half back, side bottom started half forward. When the game was on the line though, who was in the middle? It was his big name. Side bottom you can see there, Pendlebury's in there. And Elliott, who was the hottest player on the ground, he kicked 6, but he thought, I'm not letting him starve at full forward. I'm going to put him in the centre bounce. And all 3 had a massive influence. They got on top in the contest, and then Elliott did this out of the centre bounce. So I thought his ball movement was sharper. He was definitely more aggressive going through the middle of the ground. Thought he had a good day, and it was an important win for him, who was under significant pressure, obviously.
It was a weird build-up, wasn't it, team, to the game, given that Collingwood players, as Geelong players are starting now, had to isolate Caro for 60 hours, and then the vision of them getting off the flight all in masks. I think Nathan Buckley himself even coached in a mask all day. This was all just to get the game across the line, with South Australia still not opening its border to us Victorians.
Well, they've been a bit more generous than certain other states, including Queensland, which has suddenly turned on the AFL, but at least they're allowed to go there, and same with WA. And I think that if that continues, we'll get a season off and running and completed.
I mean, that's the point, isn't it? The AFL will do just about anything to make sure that they get their
no one's wearing masks in Sydney this week, I think, except for the Richmond Football Club. So, and the poor old Gold Coast, because they came to Melbourne, have been in isolation.
Yeah, that's tough.
Came back.